Today I decided to give you guys a top 10 list of my favorite movie-based video games. Since I already did a top 10 video game-based movies list, I figured this one would be pretty appropriate as well. Pretty much since the invention of video games, they've had games that were based on popular films, and there have been a lot of duds, but there's been some really good ones as well. I grew up playing a lot of them, and I thought it would be a fun idea to do a top 10 list of my absolute favorites. So without further ado, my top 10 favorite video games based on movies. Starting with Superman Returns. Now, the Superman Return movie is not the best, but it's not a bad film. However, it's really an awful choice to make a video game adaptation. So what did they do? Well, this thing barely follows the movie at all and just kind of creates an original story. The events of the film still do happen, but pretty much only in cutscenes, and it's mostly about Superman protecting Metropolis from mutants as well as extraterrestrial invaders. And it's just a really fun Superman game. I love that you can free roam around Metropolis at super high speeds. All the Superman's best powers are here: the super speed, the freeze breath, the flying, the super strength. There's nothing not to love about the gameplay in this one, and I feel this game's a little bit underrated. I really do hope one day we do get another Superman game because I think it would be really magnificent. But as it stands, this is probably the best one on the market and a really good movie-based video game. Toy Story 2: Buzz Lightyear to the Rescue. The first three Toy Story films all have video games based on their movies, but the second one is by far my favorite. The third game is pretty fun, but I just love this one because it's just a great PS1 and N64 game. It was also released on the Dreamcast as well, where you play as Buzz Lightyear and go through these giant levels as this small toy, trying to find your friend Woody and save him after he was kidnapped by Al from Al's Toy Barn. The game features expansive levels, fun gadgets, the ability to double jump. Buzz has the ability to shoot lasers, and you fight different bosses, and pretty much all the major areas from the film are located in this game. From Andy's house to Al's Toy Barn and even the airport at the end of the film, all the major beats are here. If you like Toy Story 2, this is a great encapsulation of that film in video game form, and it's one of my favorite platformers of that era. Just a really fun Disney video game and one of my favorite movie-based video games. Up next, we have 2009's Ghostbusters, the video game. This was also on my top 10 horror games list, and some people might not strictly consider this one horror, but it does have ghosts and things like that in it. I do love this game because I'm a big fan of the Ghostbusters movies, well, the old ones and one or two of the new ones. But it's great to see the original cast voiced by the original actors in this great and well-detailed game where you go around hunting ghosts, and is loosely based on the script for Ghostbusters 3. The original Ghostbusters 3 that was canceled, unfortunately. A magnificent game for all Ghostbusters fans, with fun gameplay, awesome graphics, and amazing atmosphere. You gotta love Ghostbusters, the video game. Up next, we have Peter Jackson's King Kong, the official game of the movie. Yes, that's the actual title of this thing. This game basically follows the events of the movie pretty damn well, and you play as Jack Driscoll for about 60% of the game, and the other 40% of the game you play as King Kong. I actually like the fact that it's partial first-person shooter, and the rest is awesome creature fighting action, and I think they go well together. I actually like that there's a little bit more human levels because it kind of makes the Kong levels that much more special. The game is a little bit linear, even though you're on this big island. It's mostly level-based, but the shooting is very good, and the Kong action is just magnificent. This game is 20 years old this year and was pretty much a launch title for the 360, and it was actually the first 360 game I ever played at a demo at Walmart, back when they still had those. And looks beautiful even to this day. It is a 20-year-old game, but the graphics and the atmosphere is just magnificent in this game, and it is one of the best games in terms of capturing the feel and look of a movie that it's based on. It may be the most accurate game to movie adaptation I can actually think of, honestly, and it's just really fun. Up next, it's the classic GoldenEye. You really can't have a movie-based video game list without having GoldenEye on it. It's one of the best video games based on a movie out there, and for good reason. With a magnificent multiplayer mode that pretty much redefined first-person co-op, and a great story mode that follows the events of the movie rather well, with great shooting and intense action. You can't not love this game. It was close between this one and From Russia with Love, and I do love me some From Russia with Love, but what really pushed this one over that one for me would have to be the multiplayer. It's just great to do with friends, and growing up I played a lot of it with my brother and my cousin on couch co-op. There are great Bond games out there, but this has to be the best. Hopefully the new game can somehow capture some of this magic, but that's going to be a tall order. Up next we have Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. I love most of the Harry Potter games. The only ones I don't really care for is the last two. It was hard to choose one specifically. I do love Chamber of Secrets as well, but I think Prisoner of Azkaban has to take the cake because it lets you play as all three of the characters. It's just great going around Hogwarts, casting spells, and even flying Buckbeak around the grounds, and it's just a fun, free roam-esque adventure based around the third film. There's really not a whole lot to say about this one, just if you like casting spells, fighting magical creatures, exploring the castle, and having a damn good time in the world of Hogwarts, you're going to like this game. If you're a Harry Potter fan, I definitely recommend this one. Up next, episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Now, there are tons of Star Wars games out there, but there's only a few directly based on the movies. Most of the games are either based on areas from the movies or spin-offs that take place years before the films, like Knights of the Old Republic, which is probably my favorite Star Wars game. So I had to go with the one that was actually based on a movie. And the ones that I think that are closest to the film are Obi-Wan, this one, and of course, the Revenge of the Sith game. And while I do love me some Obi-Wan, and I think it's very underrated, and Revenge of the Sith is a great hack and slash, this one I think has the most depth. In a slightly, not so much top-down, but vertical angled game where you play through the events of the film, and you play as Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon Jinn, Padme, and even Padme's bodyguard as you go through the events of Phantom Menace. The action is kind of basic, and the platforming is just kind of there. But what really sets this one apart is how close it is to the film and its great RPG elements. The best part is going to Mos Espa, which is the town that Anakin lives in, and doing side quests for all these people and running into great characters and places from the movie. Fighting Darth Maul, seeing the battle droids, great pre-rendered cutscenes. It's all fun, and it's one of my favorite Star Wars games. It's not my favorite Star Wars game, but it's probably my favorite one that's actually directly based on the movies. And though I'm not the biggest fan of the Phantom Menace movie, the game is the best thing to come out of that movie. And it's really great. Up next we have The Godfather. It was very close between this one and Scarface, but since the games are very similar, I didn't see the point of having them both on the list. And so I chose the one that's more accurate to the movie, considering the fact that the Scarface game is really a what-if sequel. This game basically shows you playing as the son of one of Don Corleone's right-hand men, and you rise the ranks and try to get revenge for your father's death while also taking over the city one business at a time and fighting other members who are going against the Corleone family. It's a great game that ties very well into the movie, and it just has great atmosphere. The Godfather look and feel is here. You feel like you're playing in the 1940s, and everything about the game just takes you back in time. It has great gameplay, a good cover mechanic, a great system where you can beat up your opponents with the joysticks, and a great interrogation system that can actually earn you money as well. It's a fun, free roam, atmospheric, third-person crime game, and it's one of the best of its kind. I absolutely love the Godfather game, and I actually think the best version of it is probably the Wii version, but the PS3 version is really great as well. If you have yourself a PS2, Xbox, Wii, PS3, or even a PSP, I recommend this game wholeheartedly. Up next we have Rocky Legends. Now there are really good Rocky games out there, including the first Rocky game as well as Rocky Balboa. But Legends has always been my favorite because it focuses on the other fighters much better than the first game. You get to play as Rocky through the events of the first 5 films, but there's also modes where you get to play as Apollo Creed before and after the events of the first film, Clubber Lang, and Ivan Drago, which ends in like a what-if scenario where he becomes the new champ. If you love Rocky, you're going to love this game. It follows the events of the first 5 movies magnificently. It's probably my favorite boxing game ever. It has a very arcade-like style to it, but it's very fun. A great roster. It has nice pulpy and bloody boxing action, and it's just magnificent. I love the Rocky franchise, and this game perfectly encapsulates that series, and it's really one of my favorite movie games. But coming in at number 1 would have to be Spider-Man, the game. I love the Spider-Man games. And some people would probably take Spider-Man 2 over this one just for the fact that it's free roam. But this one I think is a much better polished game. Following the events of the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man film, It shows our hero going up against villains from that film as well as villains from the comic book as he tries to protect New York City from these threats. What I love about this one, it basically has the gameplay of the first two Spider-Man games on the PS1, but just more polished. There's also a great mode if you beat the game on hard, which is you get to play as Harry in the Green Goblin outfit, basically giving a whole new game with a new character. If you're a fan of the first Spider-Man film like I am, this game is a perfect love letter to that film, even featuring voices of Willem Dafoe as well as Tobey Maguire, and even our boy Bruce Campbell shows up as the narrator. It's just a fun action superhero game that lets you go from different locations from the film in these large environments. It's not completely free roam, but you do get to swing around in these massive areas and fight villains from the comic book and the movie in this great video game. It's one of my absolute favorite superhero games, and without a doubt, it's my favorite movie-based game. I've played this game so much throughout my life. If you love Spider-Man, the movie, or just the character in general, you're going to like this game, and I recommend it to anyone who loves good adventure or good action. Well, that's my list. If you'd like, let me know your list down below of your favorite movie games, or just tell me your favorite movie-based video game. This used to be very common, and anytime there was a big movie, there was almost always a game based on that movie. But in more recent years, we've kind of seen that a lot less. And honestly, I'd like to see the movie game make a comeback. There are definitely some bad ones, but there were some great ones as well, as featured on this list. And hopefully one day we'll see the genre return. I thank you all for watching, and peace out.